What is up, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video. Season 9 is finally out. Man, a lot has changed, and I don't know if it's for better or if it's for worse, but I can tell you this. I have major mixed feelings about it, and I can't wait to get into it. First off, Battle Pass, awesome. Honestly, they did a really good job, especially with the first couple skins. You know, they got that little, like, robot chicken looking skin. They got the girl rock skin. I think it looks really good. Tier 100 skin, you know, they don't put the best out there because they put their best in the item shop. But overall, when it comes to the cosmetics, all the leaked stuff, a lot of it looks really good. I'm very impressed with the fact that they are still putting in the effort of getting us some type of reward for every single battle pass level, whether it be a new spray, whether it be an emote, whether it be a pickaxe, a trail, some alterations to the skins. Overall, I think they did a really good job. The cinematic that they put out there with, like, the Jonesy that was in the bunker, he makes a smoothie out of the banana, and it looked like it was all sad, but it was kind of cool that, like, you know, the banana was smiling after they started drinking it, and they were happy that they were finally in civilization. But then we see that the future is now. The map has changed significantly. You got the new Tilted, the Neo Tilted. You got the Mega Mall over at retail. You got that pressure plant over where the volcano was. The block this start of the season looks really cool. It's like a yacht, kind of looks like John Travolta's house because I like that yacht, the helipad. More like a, you know, Southampton's like chill spot. Really cool block. I like that they started the season off with. Overall, a few things have changed that I definitely want to get into, especially meta-wise, that I think have really changed the game. And we're talking about the future. The game might be at stake. Boom, boom. Shotguns. They vaulted the pump shotgun and brought in the combat shotgun. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, you know, how could they do something like that? They took out, you know, the best gun in the game. We went from, we had a double pump, to now we can't even switch between tac to pump, to now we can't even have a pump. There's no more 200s to the head. You know, you're not rewarded for being able to hit your opponent one tap to the head. Some of you guys are going, oh my God, they're absolutely crazy, killing the game. I think what they're doing, based on what they've said on Reddit, was 26% of the kills that were actually happening with the shotgun. They weren't happy with that for the amount of guns that they have. They wanted a variety of ways of you to get good at the game and eliminate your opponents that way. That being said, I personally, at first, I'm playing my first day. I'm very not happy with it. I'm not a fan of the combat shotgun, and I'm not a fan with the fact that the tactical shotgun is, you know, they made both guns very strong when it comes to first hit. You're gonna consistently hit if you get the whole body on there. You're gonna hit 70s, no problem. The whole thing is that, from my personal experience, what I've been running into is I will get into a 1v1 battle, and whoever really gets that first shot off and then builds, they already have the one-off advantage, and it could be ping could play a significant part in it. But I personally have run into people and just barrel stuffed them with my drum gun, and once I got in their box, just spamming that tac and they're dead. They don't have the capability of punishing me anymore with a one-shot pump to the head. So I feel that I have more capabilities of just rushing in, taking any fight that I want, you know, barrel stuffing them, boom, boom, boom. That being said, I personally think that solo squads are probably out of the equation now. You know, the one big thing when it came to solo squads was you would take one guy out with a pump, then, you know, one of the friends would come and go get that guy, so it's basically a 2v1, then you take out one guy, then they're all panicking, and you isolate battles. When it comes to the new way it's working, I can't just tactical shotgun the guy for a head for 200 and get him out of the fight. What's going to happen is, and we practiced this because we went into squads and we said, let's just rush one person at a time and see what happens. And we would just, these people would be boxing up, you just drum gun in there, you're attacking everyone, it's madness. Third parties are everywhere. I think the meta is going to change completely. And the one big thing that I think is like a huge game changer is what's going to happen with Arena now. What's going to happen with the World Cup? The meta has changed completely. How are people going to adapt? Is W King actually going to be more viable? Or are we going to see people get 70-person final circles because no one has the ability to actually eliminate opponents without getting one hit? Everyone's going to be, let's just get to endgame and see where it plays out. That's the one thing that I want to know from you guys in the comments what you guys think, because I really have no idea what's going to happen from there. That's the biggest for me. What the heck is going to happen? Obviously, with all that, we're going to move into I think a transition period where people are going to start figuring out a meta, whether it's going to be, hey, preserve your materials, because once you get W keyed, it's gonna be very interesting to see how 4 people running at you with drum guns when all you have is attack or this combat shotgun is gonna be. When we were running squads today, we really had no problems with too many people being able to take out multiple of us. If we were able to target one opponent, they were realistically eliminated on spot, because them overbuilding and them building in general, once we started spamming it with any of the spray guns we had, I was carrying a minigun basically the entire squad games the second I saw one, because you realistically have, and I'm going to keep repeating this word, there's no repercussions to your actions when you can't get shot one time and you're eliminated, or knocked down, for example, where I would just minigun spray people nonstop, and they're panicking because realistically, when it came to the pump, I had to worry about the fact that when I'm standing there and say hello to my little friend, the problem is they could just jump, pump me in the head, and I'm down. Here, by the time they tack me 2-3 times and I'm moving, I've already realistically knocked the person down with the minigun. Same thing with the drum gun. Same thing realistically with the SMG at this point, where as long as you're constantly moving and the guy isn't used to using attack, he's not used to using a combat shotgun, that's going to be a meta. But let's be real. We know that once everyone gets used to the meta, once everyone figures out what's the right way to play the game, it's going to change out completely. That goes into the World Cup for me. What's going to happen with the fact that all these people that already qualified, most of them perfected the shotgun, the pump shotgun, for almost 2 years now. Most of them play a certain play style. Most of them have a general idea of the way they're going to play the game. And now that there's a completely new meta, what happens with those players? And what happens to players that were right on the brink of qualifying for the World Cup that now need to figure out a new play style? They need to figure out a new strategy. And the whole thing is, people always say, oh, you just got to adapt. But the biggest aspect of the game, in my opinion, was removed. It wasn't hey, we just removed planes, something that we had for a little bit. Hey, we just removed the sword that we had for, a couple weeks. The pump shotgun was one of the first weapons in the game. It was proud, as Epic has stated, it's been the most used weapon. It's the most used weapon when it came to eliminations. But the game has become a very close quarter battles game. People are very comfortable now with building off against each other and picking their spots when it comes to shots. There's going to be, in my opinion, a lot more third party and a lot more building in general. So we're going to see a lot more structures built in many areas, because the big thing is, what a lot of people do is they would have an early build battle, but someone might get that really quick 200 in, the build battle's done, that stays there. Sometimes, that didn't happen, people didn't hit their shots, you get a big build battle. Now there's going to be, in my opinion, a lot more build battles, a lot more builds around the area, and a lot of people are going to start condensing to it. And what's been very apparent to me, the first couple games I ran, by the time the first circle closed, we had 15 people in the circle. Now, obviously, those are pub games. I have not run Arena yet. Going to run Arena. But I think I need to figure out, in my opinion, what the best loadout's going to be, my best way of playing, my opponents. What is the best way that's going to be for rotating? Because the big thing that you would do when it came to end game of Arena games was you would either get high ground, and then once you either got low on mats or once someone was by you, you would pump them, take them down, eliminate them, and go, take their materials, keep going. What the fact is, the combat shotgun has a decent range where you're going to hit 40s to, a decent amount of 40s, you're gonna hit them pretty quick while you're rotating, but that's not enough in my opinion where you're gonna be able to knock an opponent unless they took storm damage or someone already hit them, where you can quickly eliminate them, get their either their healing, either their materials, and keep going. I think they should definitely bring Siphon back now, especially with the fact is, if I have a 1v1 battle and, you know, I don't eliminate a person with a straight 200, we both hit each other for 100 with attacks, I now have to heal up. A lot of the time was where if we're in a solo, we're in a duo, we're in a squad, if I can just eliminate a guy and take 0 damage with the punch, that's the pump allowed you to do. It allowed you to take no damage in any battle and keep going. Now, I'm going to need healing, and I think that they're going to bring Siphon back now, and I think that this was kind of their idea all along. I personally thought they were going to bring Siphon back with the drum gun. What they were going to do, I thought, is lower the clip on the drum gun from 50 to 30, and then bring Siphon back. They ended up just taking out the pump. Now I'm fine with the drum gun being at 50. I think in general, the overall standing of the game, I think the game is going to improve because it's going to allow a lot of people to actually get back into a skill gap and catch up to that skill gap. Because a lot of the time, whenever you would go up against a very skilled opponent, you would just get one pump, and you know, you didn't get to actually engage with the very skilled opponent. Now I think you'll be able to engage with the opponent, you'll be able to actually learn some tactics, you'll be able to see what people are doing, and you'll be able to emulate it. Whereas compared to, you know, a lot of people they'll build over you, they would edit down, open up a floor, pump you in the head, you're dead. Now I think it's actually going to help people catch up to the skill gap, and I do think that it lowered the skill gap a little bit, but I think it's going to help a lot of people that might have quit come back. I think it's going to help a lot of people that are towards the mid-level actually be able to get closer to the higher level. And I'm actually very excited to see how the first World Cup week goes, because I don't see as high scores happening now. I do not see as many eliminations dropping. I think that it's going to be actually a lot harder for people to actually catch up in arena and get to 300 now. And I think that we're going to see a lot more new names on top of the leaderboards than we've seen before. People that are able to adapt quicker. And people who might have already been running, you know, attack shotgun and are used to it. They're used to an idea of what this does for them. Anyone who watched my stream today, overall, I had a terrible day when it came to playing in the game. I finished with like a 2.5 KD today. I got, I think, my first win after like 30 games. It was absolutely brutal out there for me because I think the biggest problem I was having, and I think a lot of you guys might run into at first, is a lot of us aren't used to using the tactical shotgun, and basically, you know, we would try to land for a pump and try to one pump all our opponents. And the big thing that I was having is I was landing at the new tilted, neo tilted, and I would be trying to find a gun, and the person I'm going up against would have attack, and you know, they attack you once, they attack you twice. The gun has such a fast rate of fire and just a spread on it where it's very difficult for you to defend yourself if you don't already get materials. And it was very difficult for me to actually engage my opponents early on. But I always tell people, if you want to get better at something, you always got to engage opponents. You don't want to just sit there, go land in some random trees, farm up some materials, get yourself some few guns, and then the first fight you get into, you die and you wasted all that time. You want to get engaging into fights early on, just so you can like learn what's going on, see what people are doing, what the new tactics are. If you're dying a million times to the attack, clearly the attack's working. If you're dying a million times to this new combat shotgun, that's working. Are people SMGing you? Are people spraying you with the Tommy gun? You know, boom bows. What's going to be the new effective method? And that's what you're going to have to realistically get used to. And the way you do that is you put yourself in situations to fight. The Mega Mall has been very popular. The new tilt has been very popular. We were landing at the block a decent amount. I just wanted to get a general feel of the game, and I think that it's very fast-paced now. I don't see a lot of people dropping 20-kill games. I don't think that we're going to see a lot of cool videos on that. And I do see a lot of clips now. We're going to be focused more on sniping and stuff like that, because it's in my opinion, I think it's going to be very difficult to do some fancy squad wipe when it's going to take you like 3 shots to kill that guy, that guy, that guy. You're not really going to fill it all up in one nice clip. I think it's going to be more either longer clips or nice montages of, you know, squad wipes where you're taking people out either with the combat shotgun, like either 2-tapping them or 3-tapping them, moving on to the next guy. It's got 10 shots. We'll see. Realistically, I think that the content side of this is going to start focusing more on competitive. I do see that's what Fortnite wants. They really want us to start focusing more on competitive because, I mean, they do have $100 million invested into it. But pub matches, I think, are going to actually be more popular. I do see a lot of people coming back now that they feel the skill gap is tighter now. The top line players aren't just going to run into you, one pump you. Yes, they're still going to build mega malls and mansions by themselves with their materials. But I believe knowing that you have the safety of not getting shot once and dying is going to be massive. Traveling is phenomenal with the new slipstreams. You're able to actually move around the entire map, basically, with that. And I believe that now this means that the ballers are going to eventually be removed because you don't really need that mobility. They're going to, in my opinion, just keep hoverboards and quad crashers. Those mobility items are actually always keeping you vulnerable, which I always think a mobility item should keep you vulnerable, which is when we were voting for the either what we're coming back, I said, let's bring back planes, just don't let them have turrets. Because if the planes didn't have turrets, that's the main thing people are complaining about. They were smashing into things and shooting you with it. Now, I think if you get rid of the baller, you have a hoverboard, which exposes you when you're driving it. You have a quad crasher, which exposes you when driving it. And you have the slipstream, which exposes you when you're using it. So I think that that should be the only three forms of mobility we have. I think they're all great. They're all fast. They're able to get you from point A to point B as fast as they can. I've eliminated so many people using the slipstream. I don't recommend doing it unless you know how to get out quick. I actually put up a few clips on Twitter of literally, you kind of call for a 1v1 when you're in the slipstream. It's really funny. So if you're flying next to each other, you guys will look at each other, and then one person's going to fly out and you guys just engage. You know, it's actually really cool. It's like kind of like if you want to fight someone, you go in there. When someone shoots at you, they're basically saying, hey, come fight me. And it's really cool. And then you have like those like, they have like these like helipad, like wind tunnels where it's like, I don't even know how to, like imagine if a landing heli spot or like a flying drones in the air, and they have these wind tunnels that just shoot you up, and they're like super geysers. And those have been really good forms of mobility that I was definitely a big fan of. And personally, I think that those are going to be the main forms of mobility moving forward. They added blimps, which I'm curious if they're going to sell ad space on it or what they're going to do with those blimps. I can definitely see it being used for many different things, where if they do a partnership like they did with Marvel, and you know, you're flying in the air and the blimp like flies in front of you and it's like, you know, coming to theaters near you, you know, Marvel Endgame. I think that they could definitely do a lot of stuff with that. They can do some, you know, promotional stuff. I think that they could put who the kill leaders are on it, which would be really cool. They can do massive different things. And I think I'm excited to see if they, you know, maybe incorporate something with that. Something really cool they added this season is called Frostbytes. They are like little chips, and what's gonna happen is every single time you like do like certain things in the game, whether you know you get a certain amount of XP, you unlock a certain loading screen, you find certain pieces like frostbites around the map, you get certain battle pass tiers, you unlock frostbites. Now what they're going to do is they're going to unlock pieces of a, I want to say it's going to be a loading screen, and I think it's going to be the last loading screen of the game, and it's going to show like a unlockable skin, which I believe is going to be the skin that you unlock when you get all the frostbites. I think they're going to do this instead of making you do like a certain amount of challenges, or they're going to make this an extra skin. And this I'm a very big fan of, and I think they should do more of stuff like this. What this does is it gets you to engage more with the game, and I think that they can incorporate it to do a lot more than just in-game stuff. I think they should definitely do a lot more with the creative and the featured. I was a very, 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 very big fan of the fact that they did the whole get coins and featured islands, because it gave exposure to people that are spending hundreds, if not thousands of hours on these builds in creative that, you know, they publish, they get featured, and I think it'd be really cool if they give some more exposure to that. as well as I'm a very big fan of the changes they made to creative, which I will address in about a minute. But I do think that this is really awesome, and I think this is awesome that they're going to work on these type of systems, and I hope that they, moving forward, add more cool stuff like this that's interactive based on the stuff that you unlock. Lastly, I want to cover creative. I think creative is awesome. I think that what they're doing with it, they're giving opportunities for players not to have to actually, play in the normal playlist and actually have fun with their friends. The way that they did, where you can do like random teams and you can do like switch teams, where you can do like a cops and robbers type thing, and the fact that they're going to start adding larger maps and make it more customizable gives me a general idea that they're going to move way more towards making the game available for everyone and not forcing them into playlists. Because a really big part that I've seen a lot of pros complain about is I'm always running into bot players in, squads or solos or duos. And I think if a lot of those players had opportunities to play in creative and they could do the squad ups on creative, the fact that now you can have 16 people in the creative lobbies, and you can do fills. If they do more of a LFG section, which I think would be sick if they did it in game, where you could post like looking for groups and stuff like that, I think it'll keep a lot of players who want to just play this casually, the guys and girls who play Team Rumble, and the people who just want to play cool different styles of game modes on a free game with all their friends. I think that they should really focus a lot more on expanding creative. And in terms of make it 32 players, make it 64 players. Give opportunities where if I have 16 players in my lobby, I can queue up against 16 other players in creative, and we can queue up on a certain map. Something like Counter-Strike had, where you can go look at like a list of games that are available, and it's like, hey, we're going to do cops and robbers on this, and you could have your squad, have their squad. I think it's gonna be great for content creators. I think it's gonna be great for, friends, family. It'd be really cool if I was at my friend's house. We all, let's say everyone had an Xbox. We all brought our Xboxes. I mean, 16 TVs might be a little extreme, maybe some monitors, but we're all there. We have like a LAN little network, and then they do. And we could play some cool game mode like a TDM or, capture the flag, something really cool that could be really fun. And I personally think that they're going to start focusing more on that. And I really think they should focus more on making creative accessible, where you're not forced to either make your own map and just publish it, where you have an LFG section, you have a section where I can go find people to play with as they do with Phil, but actually not just get into a random game, because sometimes people leave their game on Phil and they're not the nicest people. Say that. With that all being said, I'm a huge fan of this season so far. I personally am not a huge fan of my gameplay. I'm not a huge fan of what's been going on with the way I've been playing, but I think that they're moving in a really good direction. They had a lot of outcry that they were losing players. They had a lot of outcry that, it's impossible to play against pros. It's impossible to play against high skill players. And I think they lowered the skill gap a little bit. And I think that what they're doing is they're going to start getting people back on board with the game, getting people to come play and enjoy the game like they once did early on in the seasons, where it wasn't just a crazy, build-off battle and getting one pump left and right. And it's like, oh my God, I hit this guy for 170, he hit me for 205. With that being said, everyone, thank you for stopping by. If you guys liked this video, make sure you guys comment, like, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to use code Ownz in the G Fuel item shop, as well as code Allenownz in the Fortnite item shop. With that being said, I'm out. Love you guys.